Imagine this, a packed emergency room, fluorescent lights buzzing, the smell of antiseptic thick in the air. At the center of the chaos stands head nurse Sarah Callahan, 38 years old, ponytail streaked with premature gray from too many double shifts. She's the one every doctor calls when a trauma rolls in, the one patients beg to stay with them while they code. That morning, the hospital director, a man in a $5,000 suit who'd never started in four in his life, calls her into his corner office overlooking the parking lot. "Budget cuts," he says, not even looking up from his phone. "We're letting you go, effective immediately. Security will walk you out." Sarah feels the floor tilt. 22 years of her life. Her husband's medical bills still unpaid after he lost his leg in Afghanistan. Her daughter's college tuition looming. Everything crashes down in that single sentence. She doesn't cry. She just stares at him until he finally meets her eyes. Then she walks out with her head high while the entire nursing station watches in stunned silence. If you love stories where the underdog gets the last word, hit that subscribe button right now because this one is going to leave you cheering. Sarah gathers the few personal things from her locker, a faded photo of her Marine husband, a tiny American flag pin, the Purple Heart he told her to keep safe. Security hovers like she's some kind of criminal. As they escort her through the lobby, patients she saved reach out from their beds, whispering, "Miss Sarah." "No." She forces a smile, tells them to take care of each other, and steps into the blinding Florida sun. Behind her, the automatic doors hiss shut. She stands on the sidewalk, cardboard box in her arms, wondering how she's going to tell her daughter they might lose the house. Then the sky changes. A low, rhythmic thumping rolls in from the ocean like distant thunder growing louder, closer, impossible to ignore. Every head in the parking lot turns. Upward, a massive CH-53K King Stallion, the biggest helicopter in the United States military, painted in desert tan and flying the stars and stripes, comes thundering straight toward the hospital roof. The downdraft flattens shrubs, sets off car alarms, and sends paperwork flying out of stunned nurses' hands at the entrance. Up on the roof, the helo touches down with textbook precision. The ramp drops and outstride 4 Marines in flight suits, moving like men on a mission they've rehearsed 1,000 times. The hospital's PA system crackles, code black, rooftop, code black. The director, now sweating through his custom shirt, races up the stairs convinced it's some kind of terrorist incident. Instead, the lead pilot, a full-bird colonel with silver oak leaves gleaming, steps forward, salutes the trembling man, and says in a voice that carries, "Sir, we are here for Chief Warrant Officer 4 Michael Callahan's wife, Sarah Callahan. The Commandant of the Marine Corps sends his compliments and requests her immediate presence." The entire hospital has followed the drama on phones and whispered texts. Sarah is still standing frozen on the sidewalk when 2 young Marines jog down, spot her, and snap to attention. "Ma'am, if you'll come with us, please." She thinks it's a mistake until the colonel himself appears at the entrance, walks straight to her, and takes the cardboard box from her shaking arms like it weighs nothing. "Sarah," he says gently, "Mike asked us to take care of you if anything ever happened to him. He made us promise. We don't break promises to our own." Turns out her husband, before he passed 2 years ago from complications, had quietly pulled every string in the Corps, called in every favor from Fallujah to Helmand, to make sure the day the civilian world ever turned its back on his wife, the Marine Corps would land on the roof and remind that world who she really is. The director tries to bluster something about policy, about clearances, but the colonel just looks at him the way only a man who has taken fire on 4 continents can look at a man worried about quarterly margins. The silence is deafening. Then the colonel turns back to Sarah. "The commandant would like." to offer you a senior civilian nursing position at Bethesda, full benefits, rank equivalent to lieutenant colonel, and a signing bonus that will clear your house note today. The bird is fueled and holding. Cameras are out everywhere now. Nurses are crying. A patient in a wheelchair is saluting with his one good arm. Sarah looks at the helicopter, looks at the hospital that just threw her away like trash, looks at the Marines standing at parade rest waiting for her word. She brushes a tear away, straightens her shoulders, and says the 4 words every Marine in that courtyard will never forget. Semper Fi. Let's roll. The rotor wash blasts her hair back like a warrior goddess as she climbs the ramp. The director stands there, mouth open, watching 22 tons of American military might lift his worst mistake into the sky. The last thing Sarah does before the ramp closes is lean out and wave, not at the director but at the nurses and patients who loved her, a promise that she'll never forget them. Moments later, the helicopter banks north toward Washington, carrying a woman who was fired at 10:12 a.m. and rehired by the United States Marine Corps at 10:29. And somewhere up there, a Marine who gave everything for his country is finally smiling. That's the kind of justice I live for. Tell me in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video right now? Drop your state or city, because I read every single one. And let's show the algorithm real Americans are still out here rooting for each other. See you in the next one.